Bonjour à tous. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to have the chance to talk to you directly from London. It's the evening on Monday night. So today I had the chance to meet with Secretary Pat McFadden and also with the National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister, Mr. Jonathan Power. And I just also was in a meeting with Foreign Secretary Lamy. And I also participated in a rally on Ukraine that just happened at Trafalgar Square. And I'm here to reinforce the relationship, the friendship between Canada and the UK, and also to talk about the US and Ukraine.
Hi, Minister. Donald Trump has just reiterated that the tariffs will be moving ahead in his estimation next month. I'm just wondering your reaction to the fact that it seems as though the things that the Canadian government has done has not been able to dissuade the president from going forward with the tariffs.
So thank you, Mackenzie. I haven't been briefed on the latest comments by President Trump, but when it comes to tariffs, we know that there are 3 executive orders that are focusing on Canada, but also on other allies. The first one is linked to March 4th pause, and it is linked to our border and fentanyl, and it is targeting Mexico and us. The second is about aluminum and steel, and that's basically with all trading partners exporting steel and aluminum to the US. And the third is executive order is linked to reciprocal tariffs, and that's also for a deadline of April 1st.
You are correct.
And it is affecting every single trading partner. So my point is we need to be able to deal with the unpredictability of President Trump. We need to be aware that the threat of tariffs is a real one and may continue for a while. And meanwhile, we need to stand strong and send a clear message that Canadians will fight back. And that's what we'll do.
Is it the government's expectation that we will not be able to get out of the tariffs, and we're operating under the assumption that when the various deadlines come that you've mentioned, that the tariffs will come into force?
I think that we have to be ready for all scenarios. And what Canadians can trust and is that I will always be there to tell them the truth.
Are you serious?
And not only that, to make sure that ultimately we're ready and that we come up with a strong reaction. You know, Mackenzie, what is important to remember is Canada is the only country on earth that actually decided to come up with such a strong response of $155 billion worth of tariffs against the US. And we were the only ones saying exactly what we would do with that first tranche of tariffs of $30 billion. And why am I saying that is since we're not the only ones under the threat of tariffs, this is exactly why I'm here right now in the UK, and I've been in Europe now for 10 days. It is important that allies under that threat work together and work as a coalition by having the same types of countermeasures of counter tariffs. And so that's what I've done in Paris, in London, in also Munich, in Germany, and also in Brussels. And I'll continue to do that.
Next question will go to Tonda McCharles.
Hi, Tonda.
Hi, Minister. I just want to circle back, though, to Mackenzie's question. This weekend, the Prime Minister and the President spoke. And so I want to know what the current Canadian government's understanding of Trump's position is on these tariffs. Have you been told, as he said publicly today, that they're going ahead on schedule? And at one point, he pivoted to talk about reciprocal tariffs, but he was answering a very direct question on Canada. So what's your current understanding?
my understanding is that over the weekend, indeed, Prime Minister Trudeau and President Trump spoke. They mainly spoke about Ukraine and mainly spoke about the conversation they had today in the context of the G7 leaders meeting. Well, Prime Minister Trudeau and also President von der Leyen and others were in Ukraine. And President Trump participated, and they had a constructive conversation. Now, the issue of reciprocal tariffs is one that is affecting every single country having a trading relationship with the US. And on January 20th, President Trump signed an executive order asking all federal agencies to come up with a study of the trade relationship that the US has with its trading partners. So it is consistent with the executive orders he has signed, and we don't agree that the relationship is actually not a win-win. We think that actually the US is benefiting greatly from our relationship, but at the same time, we will defend Canadian jobs. We will absolutely fight back, and we will be there to defend Canada's and Canadians' way of living, period.
So can I just clarify then? I get that the conversation was mostly about Ukraine, but did the Prime Minister ask or get any indication from President Trump which way he's leaning on the Canadian-specific tariffs, the deadline for which is March 4th?
So the Prime Minister indeed referred to all the good work we were doing at the border. And when you're referring to March 4th, you're referring to that executive order linked to the border. And so we got positive feedback from many American officials regarding the fact that we have done the work. I must say also that the US is a net exporter of fentanyl to Canada, a net exporter of illegal guns to Canada, and a net exporter of illegal migrants coming to Canada. So at the same time, while we understand that there's a real preoccupation on the part of President Trump, we are doing the work at the border for us because we know that we need to have a strong and secure border to protect our people in our country.
I noted in your press release that it says you spoke with a national security advisor. I'm wondering if you expressed any concerns over Five Eyes intelligence sharing, given the moves that Washington and the Trump administration have made around security clearances for people in senior roles.
Thank you, Sarah. It's a very important question. I think that more than ever, we need to be close to the UK when it comes to intelligence sharing. And that's definitely part of the conversations, being able to have a strong security and intelligence partnership between Canada and the UK. This is certainly a conversation I had also with the Foreign Minister of Australia when I was in Johannesburg a bit earlier this week, as I was participating in the G20. And so we know that in Canada, in order to protect our interests and protect our people, we need to be able to understand what's going on in the world. And more than ever, we need to have a strong security partnership with the UK and other European allies.
Right.
Thanks. How did the G20 in South Africa help to inform the priorities that you have for the meeting in Charlevoix next month? And are there specific items that are going to help shape that G7 ministerial you're hosting?
So we know because of the U.S. changing positions on engagement in the world, and particularly when it comes to Ukraine, it is impacting the relationship that lots of countries have with the US, but also lots of countries have between themselves and the world. And we're now living in a much more dangerous and complicated world. I've said that in a speech a year and a half ago, but now it's in full display. And so in that context, it was important for me to be able to be there at the table to express what are our own concerns, defend our interests, and also be able to rally some countries that are not typically allies, but that could have the same interest in ultimately creating new coalitions.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
So I met definitely different African countries and South Africa, lots of European countries as well, and I met also with important countries such as Saudi Arabia, India, and other countries which we need to be able to have a working relationship with.
All right. So next question is going to be Thomas Seal.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Hi, Thomas. Yes, we can.
Hi there, great. We've reported the G7 is struggling to get the US on board with a statement about the third anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine. Does the G7 still intend to issue a statement on this?
So we've been working indeed with Europeans and Americans. We are still having some conversations. What I can tell you, though, is the foreign ministers of the G7 were able to have a strong statement a week ago when we held our foreign ministers meeting of the G7 in Munich. At the same time, right now, Canada and other countries don't agree with the position that the US advocated at the UN, particularly the resolution that they brought up. And that position was contrasting with our own position, our own resolution on Ukraine.
Oh, no. No.
Which we have co-sponsored with many other countries, and that ultimately the General Assembly supported. So my point is, it is a fluid situation, and we'll continue to engage. But I've been foreign minister now for 3 years and a half, and it's never been so intense in terms of diplomatic engagement, to say the least.
You have a follow-up, Thomas?
Thank you. Yes, I just wondered if you could have any more of a reaction to US voting against Ukraine's resolution at the UN today.
Well, we take stock of their changing position, and we remain committed to our own principles.
Thank you.
All right. These are all the questions we had online. So this will conclude the press conference for today.